Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Okay, folks, I'm sure many of you saw the news already, and that is the Clarity Act has officially passed in the Senate Banking Committee through the markup phase. So the vote was 15-9, and the bill will now go to the Senate floor. So a major win for crypto here. I know this is just part one of the five-part phase of getting through the Senate to the ultimately being voted and then going to President Trump's desk, but we're seeing progress, right? There are people who are saying this bill wouldn't even make it out the markup phase. Well, it just did. And in fact, it was a bipartisan vote to advance this bill with two Democrats voting in favor, who are Senator Ruben Gallego and Senator Angela Alsobrooks. If you recall, Senator Alsobrooks and Tillis were the ones who worked on the stablecoin compromise deal. So bipartisan support on both fronts. So very bullish. We got ways to go, but this is a big win. Now, a lot of folks weighed in about how great this is. I'll just share what Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, said about it. Obviously, you guys can go read the comments and tweets from everybody else. There's so many, by the way. Brian said the crypto market structure bill has passed the Senate Banking Committee with a bipartisan vote. Historic day for crypto and for the future of digital assets in America. Grateful for the countless hours from lawmakers and staff to strengthen this legislation. Big improvement from where we were in January on rewards, tokenization, DeFi, and CFTC authority. I'm proud we stood up for our customers in that moment, and the bill is better because of it. Looking forward to a bipartisan law that cements the U.S. as the world's crypto capital. Let's get clarity done. So again, huge win for the industry, folks. Now, of course, not everyone was happy about this. Elizabeth Warren was on a tear. And she showed up with her same old bullshit talking points that were handed down to her from the banksters, right? So one of the things she said, I'm not going to play the clips because I don't want to have to listen to her voice, but she said, this will blow up the economy. So all types of hyperbole and nonsense. But what she's really trying to say is this is going to blow up my bankster friends. They're going to lose market share. They're going to lose their big bonuses, right? Going back to the stablecoin yield compromise, we were talking about the banks don't want to give any type of yield to you or higher interest to you. They want to keep the majority of the money for their year-end bonuses. And you can imagine Jamie Dimon, who's her best friend, right? They teamed up to bash crypto, if you guys recall, in early 2024. In fact, John Deaton, who ran against Elizabeth Warren and obviously was really instrumental in the Ripple lawsuit case against the SEC, or the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple, he highlighted that even in the Epstein situation, Elizabeth Warren did not once ask Jamie Dimon in that hearing anything about that, even though JP Morgan got fined and they paid that fine. So Elizabeth Warren, while she's put up this facade over the years that she's against the banks, she's not. She's a puppet for them. And she had her attack dog, Gary Gensler, unlawfully attacking the crypto industry under the Biden administration. But it's a new day. And, she, again, showed up with a whole bunch of nonsense. And she had the most amendments to the bill, around 44. I mentioned that in yesterday's podcast. So same old Elizabeth Warren up to her shenanigans, but she's on the losing side of history. In fact, Senator Bernie Moreno called her out on this hyperbole statement of when this will blow up the economy, crypto will blow up the economy. He said in just 15 months, Senator Warren has predicted economic Armageddon more than 6 times. Today's apocalypse, the Clarity Act will blow up the economy. Same script, different target. Maybe the only thing crashing is her credibility, innovation over fear. It's I don't even know what to say. Look, Bernie Moreno is absolutely right. But again, Elizabeth Warren, again, those big fat checks, right? So she's going to go out and say all the craziness. So guys, what happens next? Obviously, this is a big win. Well, the bill now goes to the Senate floor for a vote, and the bill will need 60 votes to pass in the Senate. We don't have a date yet. The reporting we're getting is this is going to happen soon. Obviously, Patrick Witt at the White House crypto advisor, said they're targeting to have this passed by July 4th, right? So that would be a major win. The big part is to get it out of the Senate, which is it's really hard to move bills there, right? If you guys have caught my interviews with folks like Cody Carbone or Ron Hammond and all these guys, it's really, really tough. And after the bill passes through the Senate, it has to go to the House of Representatives to be passed again because the Senate updated the bill, right? They changed Fit 21 to Clarity and did a whole bunch of new things. So the House will have to pass it, but I don't believe the House is going to have any problems. Again, they passed the Fit 21, and then it will go to President Trump, and that's the easy part. He'll just sign it into law, just like he did the Genius Act. But we got to get it through the Senate. And of course, Elizabeth Warren's not going to stop here. She's going to continue to fight. And the banks are going to continue to lobby. They could certainly go after more senators and say, hey, look, midterm elections coming up. I'm going to send you a check, right? Don't vote for this bill. Protect us. We're the banks. You guys know how it all works. So this is where we can't guarantee anything's going to pass, but at least we're seeing progress and we're making it through the different hurdles. And today we crossed the big hurdle. So I'm optimistic. And I believe overall the US has to get this done from a global competition standpoint and to unlock innovation, in this industry for more capital to come in, for jobs to be created, and much more. Plus, look, even though some of these incumbents are fighting back because they want to slow it down so they can catch up, they're still building, right? JP Morgan, all these banks are still building, launching tokenized assets, stablecoins, crypto investment products, and much more. So it's not that they are against the technology. They just want to control it. They would love to wipe out all the crypto native firms and just control blockchain and crypto. That would be their dream, right? But it's not going to happen. So disruptions at their doorstep. Now, something we do have to be aware of, there were some last minute negotiations between the banking committee, Republicans and Democrats over multiple amendments, which were brokered this morning in an effort to secure bipartisan support for today's vote of the Clarity Act. This is being reported by Eleanor Terrett. She says, however, the compromise came at the cost of a specific change to Senator Lummis's amendment that removed language from Section 301 of the bill referencing the Blockchain Regulatory Certain Act, disappointing some DeFi advocates who say the move could strip out critical protections for software developers as the bill moves forward. So we know the other major factor outside of stablecoin yield, the other major factor these banks and incumbents have been fighting is DeFi, right? They don't like that. Again, they want to control it, right? Remember the letter Citadel sent to the SEC regarding this? So Eleanor continues saying, notably, Senator Mark Warner, Democrat out of Virginia, did not vote to advance the bill despite positively referencing the changes during the markup. That said, Senator Bernie Moreno said during the hearing that there's still work to be done on Section 301, suggesting discussions will continue in the coming weeks as the Banking Committee and the Senate Agriculture Committee work to merge the texts ahead of the full Senate vote. So we got to watch this because we got to protect DeFi. Again, the TradFi incumbents would love to eliminate DeFi and they want to make it more centralized versus decentralized. Again, they want to control the piping, right? So this is something we got to pay attention to. It was something that was stripped, but look, you're never going to get a perfect bill initially. You got to keep it moving. And then, as you go along the process, like Senator Bernie Moreno highlighted here, you start negotiating and adding these texts in. So we got to get it done, though. It's so important because if you don't have clarity, another administration can come later on and just wipe out everything that was done by the SEC, CFTC, and other agencies. So clarity will put the rubber stamp of saying this is law. And if you want to change it, you got to go through the whole legislative process, right? Versus a president coming in or so and doing an executive order and wiping out again, what the agencies have done. So it's important that we get this bill through. Yes, we still got to fine tune it, but we're making progress here, guys. We are absolutely making progress. And there's a saying, perfection is the enemy of progress, right? You aim for perfection to get everything done. It ain't going to happen. And again, we got to be careful because you got people like Elizabeth Warren who are not giving up, right? Again, she's getting those big fat checks from the banks. So it's not only her, there's others as well. So we got to get this done. All right, guys, quick word from our sponsor, and that is iTrust Capital, which allows you to invest in crypto as well as precious metals like gold and silver in an IRA. You may say, why should I invest via an IRA? Well, you get huge tax advantages. That's the big selling point here. And if you have a long-term view on crypto and precious metals, which obviously precious metals have performed incredibly well, and obviously we know there's super upside for crypto, right? We're still early. Legislation's on the cusp of being passed. And you have the long-term view, you can do it via an IRA and again, get those benefits. So within the IRA, you can buy, sell, and trade 24/7. It's low cost, no monthly fee. And if you have an existing IRA or 401k, you can roll it over to iTrust Capital's version. So on the crypto side, you get access to 80 plus crypto assets, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, you name it. You go down the list, a lot of assets, even stable coins like Circle's USDC and Ripple's RLUSD. Now, they also offer a great custody solution called Premium Custody Account. So I believe this is the second safest way to custody your assets behind self-custody, where you control the private keys. Why is that? It's because they use institutional grade crypto custody, such as Coinbase Prime, Fidelity Digital Assets. BlackRock uses Coinbase Prime, right? So you're getting tier one level custodial services here, and it's low fees. You can go in and out of it 24/7, and it's a closed loop system. So if someone hacks into your account, they can't withdraw anything. So this is very secure. And again, it's using tier one institutional grade custody. So guys, great option here to invest and custody your assets, and you get exposure to both crypto and precious metals. And folks, if you sign up with my link, you can get a $100 funding bonus. I have an account with iTrust Capital, so check them out. Link will be in the description. Okay, folks, we got some big Chainlink news here. Kraken to replace LayerZero with Chainlink to bridge assets across blockchains. So this is pretty big adoption of Chainlink. I think yesterday we also covered some Chainlink news. I'm a Link token holder. I'm bullish on this project. The solutions they have built on Chainlink is being used by other blockchains, by TradFi and crypto native firms. So it's pretty incredible. This is one of my long-term bets for sure. So Kraken is replacing LayerZero with Chainlink CCIP as the exclusive cross-chain infrastructure for KBTC and future wrapped assets. This sees a total of over $3 billion in TVL migrating after a $292 million LayerZero powered bridge exploit involving Kelp. Rival crypto exchange Coinbase has also selected Chainlink CCIP as the sole bridge for about $7 billion in wrapped tokens last year. Moving ahead, CME Group and Nasdaq announced launch of crypto index futures tracking, which includes Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, XRP, Cardano, Link, and XLM in a single contract. Look at the names, CME and the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq's a stock exchange, right? The CME, Chicago Mercantile Group, have been around long before crypto. They are building financial products around different crypto assets, guys. We are seeing the maturation and crypto going mainstream. Amazing stuff. Now, here's another example. Dartmouth Endowment invests in Solana ETF, holds $14 million in crypto exposure. So we've seen a lot of universities have been investing in these crypto ETFs, and they're looking to get exposure to obviously increase the value of their holdings. So I think as we get the Clarity Act passed, we're going to see a lot more. Again, because the risk will be off the table. Obviously, there's risk involved in investing in any asset, right? Stocks, real estate, and so forth. But crypto is being held back because there's not clarity. There's no rules of the road. So a lot of companies are like, yeah, I'm not going to put that much. But once there's legislation and everybody knows what the do's and don'ts are, the capital will flow in. So the $9 billion endowment of Ivy League University Dartmouth College reported new investments with exposure to cryptocurrencies, increasing the digital assets in its portfolio since January. In a Thursday filing with the SEC, the trustees of Dartmouth College reported that the university endowment held about $3.3 million worth of Bitwise Solana staking exchange traded fund. So Bitwise, close friends of the podcast. I've had Matt Hogan on many times. So great to see that they're getting their ETF invested in. So the trustees also disclosed about $3.5 million worth of Grayscale Ethereum staking ETF and about $7.7 million of BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin ETF. Incredible, folks. And they're not the only one. Yale, Harvard, all these guys are doing it. So, again, this will continue to increase. I think we're seeing the drop in the bucket here. And once we have clarity, the floodgates are going to open. I have the thesis. I know I've said it many times that with all these on ramps being built, ETFs, financial products, and then not so much the on ramps for retail, but institutions which hold the big money. Um, with all that being set up, right? You got Charles Schwab launching crypto trading, you got E-Trade, Morgan Stanley, all that. And then you have Clarity Pass. There's your kickoff of the super cycle, right? Which is going to drive the valuations of the tokens higher, obviously. All right, moving ahead. Turnkey raises $12.5 million in round backed by Circle Ventures and Sequoia Capital. So Turnkey builds wallet and key management infrastructure for crypto applications. The company said the new capital will support development of Turnkey Verifiable Cloud, a secure computing product for digital assets and sensitive workloads ahead of its public launch. So the New York-based firm was founded by former Coinbase custody employees Bryce Ferguson and Jack Kearney. Its infrastructure is used for non-custodial wallets, automated on-chain transactions, and policy-controlled signing. So with the $12.5 million raise, it puts their total funding to $65 million. A lot of folks participated, including Bain Crypto Capital, Lightspeed Faction, Galaxy Ventures, Sequoia Capital, and Variant. So, guys, we continue to see lots of capital being invested in companies building the infrastructure of the market, right? So this is very healthy, very good. And of course, these companies are also investing in the tokens themselves. So really great to see. Now, here's another example. Stablecoin powered neobank Facet raises $51 million to expand across emerging markets. So the money is to expand its stablecoin powered banking platform with backing from Japan's SBI Group, Invest Corp, and Turkey's Ars Portfeuille. I think I butchered that, but anyway. The Los Angeles-based startup uses stablecoins to move money across more than 50 payment corridors in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, processing over $32 billion in annualized volume for more than 1,000 small and medium-sized businesses in 125 countries. Facet said it plans to use the new funding to enter additional markets, build lending and trade finance products, and grow its proprietary own network infrastructure as stablecoins gain traction for remittances and cross-border commerce. So again, guys, huge investments and the building continues. Final news item here, BlackRock, Janus Henderson tokenized funds get instant redemptions with new $1 billion facility. So Grove launched a liquidity network offering up to $1 billion in daily stablecoin liquidity for instant redemptions for BlackRock's and Janus Henderson's tokenized treasury funds. The facility, dubbed Basin, aims to fix a key weakness in the $15 billion tokenized treasury market by providing instant stablecoin payouts against approved redemptions while underlying fund settlements proceed on traditional rails. Major asset managers and crypto firms, including Securitize, Centrifuge, Anchorage Digital, Galaxy Digital, and FalconX, are partnering on the platform as tokenized U.S. Treasury products grow rapidly and institutions increasingly park cash on blockchain-based funds. So many of you know BlackRock has a tokenized money market fund called BIDL. Recently, it was announced they're going to expand to, and create more funds, right? So it's great to see the innovation to help improve these products and the network and liquidity and the piping and the infrastructure around all this. So incredible what's being built, guys. We are at the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. Again, once we get like full tokenization clarity or guidance from the SEC, once we get Clarity Act passed, you're going to see so much more of this. It is going to increase at a rapid pace. So very, very bullish news. Again, have the long-term view. I know right now the market's not reflecting this news. It will, guys. Even like today, the Clarity Act making it out of the Senate, you look at Bitcoin's chart, it's still stuck between 81, 82K. It didn't break out. There wasn't a massive green candle. In fact, one could argue this markup was already priced in. But patience. Market moves in cycles. We are climbing our way out of a bear market. There's still the potential for Bitcoin to roll over and go test 58K or 60K, or potentially lower. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm saying it's a scenario because we're talking probabilities. No one has a crystal ball. So let's see what next week brings us. I do believe there's still some bullish momentum here for Bitcoin. There is a CME gap at around 84K. So let's see what happens. The stock market continues to make new highs. This S&P 500 is going parabolic. It hit 7,500 today for the first time in history. The Nasdaq is also ripping like crazy. Now, they're both in the overbought zones, super overheated here. So we do have to be cautious. There may not be a lot more time for this respective rally. It may correct very soon. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of black swan event that makes it crash or there's just a healthy correction. We'll see, right? Again, when I see things overheated like this, I'm always worried because markets don't go up in the same direction forever. And you use the signals like the RSI to see where if we're overbought or oversold, right? So when we were down in the oversold zone in March, I was like, hey, look, we are getting ready to rally, but now that we are in the overbought zone, get ready for a pullback, right? So just be cautious, guys. Obviously, if you have the long-term view, this is just ebbs and flows. As the saying goes, time in the market is better than trying to time the market. So you want to obviously buy when there's blood on the streets and hold and position yourself, right? So this is where we got to watch it closely. But hopefully, Bitcoin has one more run up to 85 and we want to see some rotation to the alts, which has already started, right? We see Total 3 has broken out. Individual altcoins are starting to move, but I think there's still more to go here. Definitely, I think XRP is setting up to run as well. So we really got to be patient and see how this all plays out in the coming week and weeks. Anyway, guys, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter on Substack. It's 100% free. Be sure to grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know about crypto. And right now we have a huge sale. We got a bear market sale. Use the code BEAR, BEAR, at checkout to get 50% off the price of the course. And this course is comprehensive. It's packed with tons of insights. It features expert commentary, which no other crypto course offers. So check it out. Go to mycryptocourse.com. All the links will be in the description. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.